What you gave me was more important than services. It was the unquestioned sentiment of, I believe you, and that left a lasting impact.
Through BARCC, I learned that I am not alone and never will be again.
BARCC saved my life. You gave me hope. You helped me feel like I was normal. You made me feel life was worth living again.
Healing, hope, change. This is what happens at the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center. But that's not because of us. It's because of you. It takes a community of friends and supporters to prevent sexual violence and help survivors heal. As volunteers, activists, and donors, you give your time, your talent, and your treasure because you believe in showing up for survivors. You believe in a place survivors can call for support at any hour of the day or night. That's why we have a 24-hour hotline. You believe in survivors having a hand to hold in the emergency room. That's why we have medical advocates. You believe in keeping sexual violence from happening in the first place. That's why we have community awareness and prevention services. And it's all fueled by your philanthropic dollars and volunteer hours. Each year, we recognize a volunteer from each of these programs for their extraordinary commitment to survivors and to preventing sexual violence.
The Hotline is one of BARCC's 24-hour programs. We answer just around 4,000 calls a year, so we have really high volume of folks reaching out to us. We spend a lot of time really helping folks sort of identify how they're feeling, validating whatever those feelings are, and letting folks know that we believe them, that whatever's going on for them is reasonable and normal responses to what they've been through.
I called the hotline a lot. BARCC was always there on my speed dial, and just knowing that was enough to get me through a lot of nights.
Almost every single one of our hotline calls is answered by a volunteer. Really, our hotline would cease to function without our volunteers. I was so excited that ENID was selected as our Volunteer of the Year. She's somebody who's been with us for a long time, 9 years now, the longest of any of our hotline volunteers.
The people that I talk to on the hotline, generally speaking, it's probably one of the worst moments in their entire lives. And those people show unbelievable grace, strength, courage, and resilience in those incredibly difficult times. I generally get off the phone with every person just thinking what an amazing person they are.
I still think about that most horrifying experience of my life, and I thank the stars I picked up the phone and you were on the other end of the line.
The medical advocates respond to 19 Boston area hospitals. When a survivor first goes into an emergency room, the hospital will reach out directly to us. We're on call every day, all day, 7 days a week.
I went silent when the ER nurse asked me why I was there. I was ashamed to look everyone in the eye. If the medical advocate hadn't been there, I would have left the hospital without ever checking in. But she made me feel safe.
Ashley Wells was a very easy choice for Volunteer of the Year. She is one of the kindest, most empathetic people I have ever met.
So when a call comes in, you basically have to be ready to go. Sometimes you're there for 5 to 7 hours, sometimes you're there for 5 minutes, and it's really tailored to what that particular survivor needs in that moment. No one should have to be alone when they're going through something like that.
If I didn't have a medical advocate with me, the hospital would have been a scarier experience. If I didn't get to squeeze her hand when I was in pain, then I wouldn't have had any hand at all.
CAPS is Community Awareness and Prevention Services. So we work by going into communities, going into universities, high schools, and even other organizations that request our services. And we provide trainings, mainly including the consent workshop, bystander training, and responding to disclosures.
If I can just get one person to kind of like just offer something that'll click light bulbs in other people's heads, you know? It's amazing to see how rooms work that way. And it's like, and that's an exciting thing.
I'd say Walker's leadership and desire to have a community and a strong community has made them somebody that volunteers look to.
I had someone tell me the other day who I knew them as a friend. I didn't know that they had gone through one of our trainings a long time ago. And they just told me that, oh, I was so grateful to have done the responding to disclosures training that BARCC did because someone disclosed to me, and I would have not felt prepared to do anything. I might have just, sat there with them, which would have been good, but I have no idea what else I would have done without knowing all these other services I can connect them to and help this person really get help.
Doing this work for a long time, and I continue to do it because I enjoy doing it, because the people that I talk to do need support, and they're very strong, and they're very courageous, and they deserve that support, and getting support like that helps them heal. And what could be better than helping somebody heal?
I think that we're all learning together how to best, change the conversation around sexual violence and healthy, sexual relationships and healthy relationships.
I think when people ask you what kinds of things you see in this work, I always say what I see most often is resilience. That under such really difficult, trying circumstances, you can see some hard things, but you can also see the best of humanity.
Thank you for being part of this community, and thank you for showing up for survivors.